At San Diego's Dockside Tuna Harbor Market on a recent Saturday, hundreds of people line up along the pier. They're here to get their hands on some fresh fish.
That tuna there is $1.19 for you, sir.
Caught and butchered by local fishermen. Jordan Katzlinger is a third-generation fisherman in San Diego. She spends even more time here now.
March 16th is when I became unemployed at the ripe age of 23.
Katzlinger says fishermen can't sell to restaurants or processors because most of them have closed. Seafood also isn't a popular takeout item.
It's a lot more limited. A lot of the processors are, if they're still open, it's just really limited to what and how much they're taking. The restaurants are taking, just not as frequently because they're not able to move it as fast either.
And then there's also the problem of species. Katzlinger says the fishermen right now are able to move the fish they catch locally.
Yeah, everything just came in off that boat. You're looking at the boat right there.
But people still ask for popular options.
Albacore, big eye yellowfin.
So our biggest thing that people ask for that we don't have is salmon. It's not local. It's like a Northern California area. We don't have it down here.
This 6-year-old market is busier than ever as consumers opt for a larger batch of fresh seafood over frozen products from the grocery. That's a relief for fishermen, but Katzlinger admits this once-a-week market and willingness to try different species may not last.
Fresh fish isn't cheap and cheap fish isn't fresh.
That interest is key because those processors and distributors fishermen rely on for the majority of their sales are already hurting.
Over the last few weeks, we're seeing companies reporting losses of tens and hundreds of millions of dollars already. And again, there's 1.7 million Americans employed in the seafood value chain, and job losses are mounting.
Federal statistics show the seafood industry sees around $140 billion in commercial sales nationally. And Gibbons says most suppliers and distributors normally sell expensive species to restaurants. So they can't just sell those fish to canned pet food processors because they won't be able to cover their costs. Also, suppliers can't buy in bulk because they don't have the customers and they can't store all of it.
They would have to stop fishing because they would say, I can't load up this boat and bring it to a producer or processor on shore who's going to tell me I can't take your product because it's perishable.
In late March, Congress passed and the president signed a $2.2 trillion coronavirus stimulus bill with $300 million destined for fisheries and seafood businesses.
So you have a $2 trillion stimulus package and only $300 million of that is going to seafood, and it hasn't even begun to reach seafood companies yet.
And the time that it's taken for many companies to see that money has already been too long.
Horrendous. It was just so humiliating. We're a small business. We have 18 people total. We have like 11 trucks, but all of our employees have been there for such a long time. We're like a family. And having to give them that packet with the unemployment information, my daughter handed that out, thank goodness. Her name's Brittany. But it was really hard.
Kathy Strongman is the owner of San Diego Seafood, Inc. The company normally sources and supplies tens of thousands of pounds of seafood to restaurants a week. In March, her business dropped to just hundreds of pounds in seafood sales. After crunching the numbers, she said they had to close.
We would have been negative by, say, $15,000, $20,000 a day. We need a certain amount, say $15,000 a day, just to break even, just in sales. Salmon is probably our number one seller. And, those are items that we're dealing with that if we can't sell those items, it's not going to be cost effective for us to be open.
She says she applied for an economic injury disaster loan right away. She got notification this week, and it's only a portion of what she asked for. But after being in the business for so long, she's prepared and eager to get started. She recalls one memory when she knew that she'd be in this for the long haul.
So even with my oldest, he'd come home and he'd say, "Mommy, you stink." I'm like, "It smells like money."
Shalina Chatlani, KPBS News.